Nerdrotic.com.
Oh my God, that was so loud in my ears. Sorry, that thing was cranked up. I about blew my eardrums out. I don't know how that was for you.
Yeah, no, I was fine, man. I was okay.
Oh my God, I unhooked my sound thing, move everything. It's like, whoa, holy crap. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Welcome to the Nerdrotic Nooner Memorial Day special. This is the day, there's Veterans Day, I don't know, for the people who aren't in America, who we give thanks to all the people who served the country. Today is the day for all the people who never came home, fighting for our freedom to bitch about things like Star Wars and Doctor Who, died in foreign lands. And yeah, so this is it's a special somber day here. And I think it's a good day to talk about a good movie. Like, it's so rare. We found a unicorn, dude.
I know.
And
I was so pleased when I saw that. Like, within the first few seconds of watching it, when that intro tune kicked in and you saw the aircraft taking off from the aircraft carrier at sunset, I was like, oh man, the nostalgia's kicking in hard. They've got it.
Yeah. I didn't even do a primer. I didn't have time to do a primer to watch Top Gun. So now I'm gonna do it backwards. I'm gonna end up watching Top Gun, which I haven't watched in years, right? But I saw it, I don't know, 5 or 6 times in the theater when it came out. It was a big deal in San Diego, where I grew up, because San Diego is kind of a big city that has got its small town, like, little brother, little redheaded stepchild thing with LA. So anytime something happened in San Diego, we're like really super proud of it. So like, this was something San Diegans were very proud of, was Top Gun. Even though it made no sense, like, he would be down in downtown San Diego or North Island, and like 2 minutes later he'd be 50 miles away or 40 miles away in Oceanside. I got a story later about it. I don't want my wife to be listening to this story, so has to be later in the live stream, about a girl who really was obsessed with this movie that I met.
All right, we got to hear more about this, man.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, like the original as well. Like, it just portrayed such a gorgeous view of America. Like, every time they were out someplace, it was like burning hot sun. Like, it was like everything had an orange filter on it. It was always sunset or whatever. It always looked amazing. Like, the skies were always blue. Everyone looked awesome. Everyone was tanned. They were flying fighter jets. They were wearing sunglasses all the time. I was just like, fuck, man, if this is America, sign me up. I want to live there now.
Everybody's ripped and can play volleyball or defense football without their shirts on. Yeah, we're all like that here.
Clearly, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just for eating meat. That's the craziest thing. It's just a pure meat diet.
Yeah.
But we could just get right into it. We have the drinker for a limited time, and I don't want to waste any. And welcome everybody. Welcome to the Modrotics, and welcome everybody who's here. We're going to get right into talking about this movie, because I was looking forward to it. It wasn't like something I was like super excited for. I'm like, this one looks like it'll be pretty good, right? Like, that's great. And it's been delayed, God, for 2 years. So this
2 years, yeah. It was 2020. It was supposed to come out.
And they were really, really, really smart to wait until Memorial Day. And I don't think the timing could have been more perfect, when people just really needed some escapism, and they got it. And I think what I like about this movie is it's utter simplicity and being completely character driven. And like, we don't even know who the bad guys are, right? So
yeah, I love that. It's like, even in my review, I just had to call them Not Russia. Who knows who they are? Yeah, but honestly, man, like, I came out of that movie theater, and I said this in my review, I wasn't making it up. I was just buzzing. I felt so fucking happy. Not just because the movie, like, didn't disappoint, but just because it's a feel-good movie. You can't help but enjoy it, and you can't help but watch it and just feel great coming out of it. And it's so rare to get that now. Like, there's so often now I come out of a movie, I'm pissed off, or I'm just bored, or whatever, because that's what we're getting in films now. But with this one, I just felt amazing, and I had to like talk about it as quickly as possible, because it's such a rare thing with films.
Yeah, that's why you're here. Like, we couldn't get you on Friday Night Tights. It was just bad timing. We had. I mean, it was a good show, but we had more of a political focused show than, and then all this, like, all these, Kenobi dropped and Top Gun, and it's like, a lot of us were itching to talk about it. So we'll probably do that next week after our guest. But like, I definitely wanted to talk to you about this one, dude.
Yeah.
I had no intentions of even like, I wasn't sure I was going to do a live stream on it or anything, but like, no. We have to talk about this movie just because it's simple, it's fun, it's going back to basics, and it's honestly what Hollywood needs to do. And we could start right with that little message Tom Cruise does at the beginning of the movie. And I really don't give a damn if he's lying, if it's scripted, if he was yelling at a freaking PA right after the thing was shot. I don't care. The fact that he sat down and he thanked the customer for coming back to the movie theater to watch it, which is something Hollywood should have done with every single movie after the coup, especially after their act. And I think he was I think he was just really hyperly aware of how the audience was feeling about Hollywood in general. And I thought it was a nice gesture. Real or not, I don't really care. The fact that somebody thought about it enough to do it after all this time, when not a single person's doing it, when you see how, Disney's acting today, it was a nice touch. I liked it.
Yeah, for once, not antagonizing the customer and actually treating them like, hey, people that are paying your wages, that's important, and you want to court them and you want to make them feel good. That seems like a lost art now in Hollywood. And yeah, there's so many aspects of this film that just they feel like they came from a different era. There's no messaging in it. There's no socio-political commentary. There's no identity politics. There's no feminism. It's just a really fun, old-fashioned movie. And I feel like nobody but Tom Cruise could have made something like this happen. He's one of the few people that actually has the pulling power to say, we're not doing this. We're not going to work this crap into it. We're just going to tell a good, honest, old-fashioned story. I don't think many other actors could make that happen apart from him.
No, they couldn't. And it was one thing I was wondering about is how are they gonna like justify this old guy, being in Top Gun again, still like, flying in combat. And I mean, it's not totally unrealistic, but the way they did it worked. It was a guy who just like locked himself into his work. He was stuck with the death of Goose, and that's just something that he was stuck in life, right? Mm-hmm. And this is about him getting essentially unstuck, much later in life, but never too late, I guess.
Finding a way to let go and kind of move on with his life. And yeah, like the movie kind of implies that it's Iceman who's been pulling strings because he's like an admiral in this, and so he's got like a lot of authority. And he's the one who's kept Maverick from getting forcibly retired or just court-martialed or whatever, because he's pulled a lot of shit over the years, I think. And so it passes itself off enough that you can forgive it. And the fact that Tom Cruise looks about 20 years younger than he actually is probably helps.
That helps a lot. I mean, there are older guys like who can fly, like Dennis Fravor out there, the guy with the Tic Tac UFO dude, who's like one of the most badass pilots we've ever had. He's not a youngster, so it's absolutely possible. It's not something I think about very much because I'm not in the military, but I love how it started out where he's test flying some Sonic plane, and it's you gotta suspend your you got your what is it? I can't even think of the term now. It's
like suspension of disbelief.
Suspension of disbelief, because he's going Mach 10 and he's able to eject out of a Mach 10 plane.
Yeah, he would have been mush after that. But those things are real. Like the hypersonic planes that use scramjet engines, they actually do exist, or at least they're in the test phase. So it's not completely ridiculous, but I did wonder, like with that scene, oh my God, is this going to be some like sci-fi-ish over the top craziness? But that's just like one little, scene to introduce.
At first I thought it was like, we're going to get a 2 weeks earlier. That's what I thought. I thought we just saw like Maverick die.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, they're going there, huh? But no, I thought the scene afterwards where, I guess we'll try to keep it spoiler light. We'll tell you about the beginning, but the scene afterwards was funny. I thought that was pretty good when he came
in the diner.
Yeah, in the diner.
Yeah, that was good.
But I don't know like how much there is to. There's like no. I mean, listen, it's Tom Cruise gets in jet with other people and fights other jets, and accomplish his mission. I mean, that's pretty much it.
That's basically all it is. And like my plot summary was nice and short as well. It's like, yeah, they've got a mission to do. He's the only guy with real experience, so he has to like train up the class of Top Gun to do it. And that's pretty much it. And it's really difficult, and they're kind of pushing their machines, their jets to the limit to be able to do this. And it's cool because, you know, they spell out exactly what the mission's going to involve, all the different stages of it, and they hammer it home a few times throughout the film. So you really understand what stage they're at when they get to the big finale and the action scene. You know what they've got to do. You know the obstacles ahead of them. So okay, it's fine. I can deal with that. And then it's just all about the kind of character interactions once they're involved in this, because one of the pilots is the son of Goose. Who would have thought it? And he even has a tash just like Goose.
What are the odds? But and it's Miles Teller. He's an all right actor. I don't hate Miles Teller. I mean, just because he was in Fan Four Stick, there was other people in Fan Four Stick too. But I thought he did a good job in this one, a really good job. And they introduced the characters as fast and as good as they did in the first film. It's like, here we are, we're at a bar, we're gonna meet everybody. We meet Jennifer Connelly's character. He's still looking good.
I was going to say, man, the years have been kind to Jennifer.
Yeah,
because she's like 50 now, and man, she looks great. She's an upgrade from Kelly McGillis now. I know which one I'd pick.
For sure. Yeah, Kelly McGillis. Wish her all the luck in the world. But there's a couple people who didn't show up, including it's a Meg Ryan, right? Meg Ryan. Took me Trisha Arquette. I'm thinking about 80s actresses. It was Meg Ryan who was Goose's wife, right?
Yeah, because I remember her from the first one. She had this like totally wicked 80s perm going on. But yeah, I don't know if she was unwilling to come back or what. But man, it's not like she's busy these days. Probably she should have rethought that one.
Well, she passed away, but there's a really good plot point with that I love that they never resolve it. Like with Maverick, why? So there is a conflict between Goose's son Rooster, played by Miles Teller, and Maverick in this class, and you find out that he had to keep a promise to somebody, and he'd rather be the one resented than that other person. And they never, that's something they never resolve. And I thought that was done pretty well. I would say the only thing, my minor complaint would be just the romance thing was just kind of like, it was there to be romance thing. And my wife was definitely going, they could have, explored that a little more, the single mom, because she's a single mom.
Yeah, like maybe tie her into the story a bit better, because it just kind of felt like it was its own separate thing going on, like outside of the rest of the storyline. And it was fine, they have good chemistry together, and they had a few nice scenes. It's just like, just could have done with a little bit more probably. But yeah, it's just some minor gripe really.
And she was like a normal woman. She wasn't like this insufferable, controlling Disney actress. It was nice to see.
I picked up on that. Yeah, I was like, oh my God, she's just being nice to him. I didn't know such a thing was still allowed.
What?
Weird. Again, I think it's Tom Cruise. Like, throughout this movie, okay, Maverick's older now, but like he's never portrayed as like this figure of fun. Like, isn't it funny this old guy trying to like, still hang with the young kids and try and do this stuff that he was doing 30 years ago. No, he's always portrayed as a really capable, competent pilot, and he still can hack it physically. They even have that scene on the beach where they're all playing like touch football. Just to show that Tom Cruise can still hack it. And I don't know if it's just his ego where he's like, yeah, I'm not gonna be upstaged by a bunch of youngsters or whatever. I don't care what it is, but I am all in for it. That's exactly how I want to see legacy characters treated, with respect.
Yeah. You know what? I didn't even check who directed this movie. I forgot who directed this movie. I'm gonna fight because they
it was the same guy who did Oblivion, I think.
Yeah. It was. He did a very good job mimicking Tony Scott, right?
Yeah.
I thought that was really good because you were talking about that golden look that everything has, the magic hour that Tony Scott is like eternally in Beverly Hills Cop 2 and in Top Gun. And I think Tony Scott in a lot of ways was the better Scott, especially with True Romance, one of my favorite movies of all time. Obviously he took his own life when he had cancer and stuff. But I think he did a great job mimicking Tony Scott, and like it absolutely had the same look. I mean, it looks like a sequel to Top Gun, and it looks like it could have been made a few years after.
I know.
It
is mental when you think it was 35 years ago. How did they do this?
Oh my God, it makes me feel old. Just watch it. I was like, I remember going to see it in the theater. It was as a teenager. And when you think about being a teenager was 35 years ago, it hurts a little bit.
Yeah. No, I had a blast with it from start to finish. The air combat scenes, the training scenes, all that stuff, like done pretty much with real jets. Like I know there's a few bits where they had to CGI it to help it out, but looks incredible. To see real aircraft flying and know that the actors were actually in the cockpits getting thrown around. God, I miss stuff like that. I miss just real effects. I miss movies that actually have a bit of weight behind them, and it's not just cobbled together from like 50 supercomputers working in tandem. It's so much better. It's so much more engaging.
And who knows? It might even have been cheaper. I think it might have been to actually go out and fly real jets than getting 200 people across the world to coordinate on effects for 3 years or 2 years. That just looked like crap. It was brilliant. And it was and it gave me everything I expected. I'm sorry, my expectations were subverted. I'm like, I expect them to fly around and shoot down some jets and accomplish their mission, and they did, and I walked out pretty happy. If I want to think, there's other movies I'll go to if I want to think. Not to a Top Gun. It gave me exactly what it was supposed to give me. And that's why it made a bunch of freaking money. I guess after the end of today here in America, it's going to hit 150 million, maybe a little more. And it deserves it. It does.
Oh, absolutely. And I want Hollywood to take some lessons away from this. I know they probably won't. And they'll be like, oh, but the message. But I want them to realize that movies like this can still succeed. And not only can they succeed, but this is what people want. They tolerate the garbage that's been force-fed to them by Disney and Marvel and stuff because there's basically been nothing else to watch. But this is the kind of film that I think they want more than anything, just old-fashioned, fun entertainment.
And that has to be factored into this. This was a good movie, don't get me wrong. But there was a time not too long ago where we would get 5 or 6 or 7 good movies a year. Like clockwork, it'd be varying degrees. They'd be different movies, but there's, I could probably manage. Like I struggled to make a top 5 list, and it was just stuff I liked. It was just stuff I didn't hate, basically.
Yeah.
A top 5 list last year, and this is definitely going on it. I might even see it again. It'd be nice to see it at the home, because the jet flying stuff is everything you expect it to be. It's if you haven't seen it, it's fucking cool.
The amount of people that haven't, though, it's crazy, because if I look through the comments on my review, and honestly, pretty much everyone was like, wasn't going to give this a try, but I'll take a look now because you've spoken so highly of it. All variations of that. So many people were just so jaded with films nowadays that they weren't even going to bother. And that's the scary thing.
Yeah, and that's what Hollywood should be frightened to death of. But instead, I wake up this morning, there's 2 more articles from 2 different franchises on toxic fans. I mean, this bullshit's still going on. So, keep doing that. And then if there is an alternative, there's somebody willing to make a good movie and just say, hey, we'd like you to come and see it and have some fun, and not divide the country making our, what this is basically it's a circus. It's an entertainment. You're supposed to be dancing clowns, making us laugh, entertaining us. That's what you are, Hollywood. Know your job. And honestly, you do the most good by entertaining people and having them forget stuff like what happened last week and what constantly happens in the world. There's always a tragic event going on, by the way. And there's always something good going on. That's the way life is. It's what we choose to focus on. and we just got to get through our lives. And once in a while, we just like to go see a movie and forget about it and not hear how bad we are, what horrible people we are. When I'm like, I'm not like perfect, but I'm not an asshole all the time. Come on, my kids like me. So yeah, is Tug in the house? What's up, Tug? How's it going, buddy? Taking a day off before Johnny Depp. We find out, I guess, tomorrow, maybe.
Oh, is that it? Like, fucking hell, man. This trial's been going on for about 6 years by the sounds of things. Like, I can't even remember a time when it wasn't happening.
Yeah. But yeah, the jury is deliberating. Oh, but no, I was locked in pretty much from the beginning of this movie, dude. They hooked me in the first 5 minutes. I'm like, all right, this is pretty cool. And what holds it together is, I know Tom Cruise is crazy. I know he's nuts. But and I know he had his like meltdown on the set for Mission Impossible. And as I said back then, I will say now, that was a dude who cared. Maybe a little too much. You don't want to be screaming at people, but like, especially, we don't know what the infraction was. But you can hear that this guy like had some of his own money on the line and understood that he had other people's money on the line, which is something that even when I was in Hollywood was getting lost. It's like, you're playing with other people's like lots of money, of other people's money. And you're just like, doesn't mean anything to you. And what I heard was the desperation of Hollywood, knowing like they took a year off. People it seems like it was just yesterday where there was no movies. We're just getting ramped up now. This is probably what the third hit they've had, the third legitimate hit. We had Spider-Man, fourth. We'll say fourth. Spider-Man No Way Home, the Batman, Doctor Strange. I mean, I hated it, but it was a hit. And this. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, this is 4 movies now. And
I'll be honest, man. I was just so pleased to see a big budget movie be successful. That's not another fucking comic book movie.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm sick of them now. I'm starting to actually fucking hate them because it's like all that we get to see is the only things that have been coming out of the cinema. And yeah, like I've started to feel this real sense of resentment towards them. I'm like, oh, fuck off. Give me something different now. I'm done with this. I'm done with all these fucking generic Marvel superhero movies, just one after the other. I was so pleased to see something else.
In your review, when you contrasted, and it hits home when you contrasted Top Gun and you showed them shooting the jet, like flying up the right past the cliff, and this freaking camera right there, and then you had Ant-Man and Captain America surrounded by a bunch of green walls and some fucking foam or whatever, and they're reacting to nothing. I was like, oh, that was a good contrast right there.
Get ready for more of that, because that's going to be my next video. I'm doing like basically another like, why do modern movies suck? And it's like, because we use CGI for fucking everything now. So that's there's going to be quite a few contrasts there.
If you can catch some of the behind the scenes from Endgame, dude, it's there's like one little rocky piece of set and it's just green everywhere else, and nobody's wearing costumes. They've all got their mocap suits on, which is hilarious, by the way. I mean, we just we got the Thor trailer. Terrible. But so after like the first few minutes, you get the idea that Maverick is kind of, he's kind of stuck in life. He's a test pilot. Oh, and by the way, he just crashed a supersonic plane or blew it up by pushing. They told him to hit Mach 10. They were about to shut down his program at the beginning of the movie. And we're waiting for Admiral Ed Harris to show up to shut it down. And it was great seeing Admiral Ed Harris for like 5 minutes, but he was a great asshole admiral. And he goes up, he flies the supersonic jet. He hits it to 10, but they said, hey, don't go past 10. We're good at 10. We saved the program at 10, but no, he's got to push it past 10. He gets it past, and the plane blows up, and he ends up, escaping at Mach 10 somehow because he's Tom Cruise, and there might be enough plastic in his body to actually like protect him from that. Maybe
there may be, it might be all right.
So he makes it back down, and then he gets chewed out by Admiral Ed Harris, who basically says, we're using drones now. You're a dinosaur. You're a dying breed. And that's where you put I love that you put the one line in there, which is, I mean, it could be saying something for Hollywood overall. We might be a dying breed, but it's not, not today.
That's Tom Cruise right there. Yeah, he's just like, I know I'm old now, and maybe I'm not going to be making A-list movies much longer, but yeah, I'm not done yet. I like that.
No, dude, he can go. Honestly, he can go for. There's tons of actors who had resurgence, like Sidney Poitier. I remember in the 80s, like had this little action run in the 80s and like his 50s, early 60s. It's good movies too.
Well, look at Eastwood. He was able to keep going,
yeah.
Doing action roles in his 60s easily. So, yeah, maybe he's all right.
I don't know about flying jets, but yeah, I thought it was a poignant line. And instead of getting kicked out of the military, which he almost did, Iceman saves his ass. Admiral Iceman, and puts him in charge of Top Gun. They have a special mission. They have to. There is. It's Kekistan. We'll call it Kekistan. Has some. They're enriching some uranium, right, in an underground base that looked like it was at the bottom of a volcano, but they didn't call it a bottom of a volcano.
It was proper Bond villain stuff, It's like, our enrichment facility is buried deep within this volcano.
Right. So the jets have to fly in, fly out, and then after they fly out, they can't go. Well, they go up, but there's surface to air rockets at top that are going to detect them. So they have to get the fuck out of there as fast as they can. It could only be what 2 jets, four jets.
So they've got to approach it in a canyon that's like twisty turny. They've got to fly really fast, really low, because if they go too high, the surface to air missiles will shoot them down, and if they take too long, like the Kekistanis will scramble their fighter jets and intercept them. So they've got to do it very low, very fast, get over the mountain, drop their bombs, get out the other side, and then run like crazy and fight their way out. So it's it's a really difficult mission, and that's why Maverick's brought in to train these pilots up for it.
Yeah, and you were right. Like, this mission. Like, you could fly this mission, chat, if you watch this movie. By the end of the movie, it like through and through. They take it like through everything. You just don't know where the fuck it is. Like, what country is this? But it's not important. And I mean, again, I've never been in the military, but I can imagine that's probably how you see things when you are in a jet. It is just a target. These are your orders. This is what you need to do. Nothing personal, it's not important. Nothing else is important. It's just the mission. And that's what the focus was. I think they're like in one scene, I thought I heard them say, and it faded out. It's like, okay, there's some action in the rogue state of, I forgot. Never heard what they said after that. It kind of muffles. But we'll say free Kekistan. But yeah, the damn mission. So it's about training, and it's about Maverick dealing with his stuff with Rooster, which was done pretty well. So what Maverick did was, he impeded on Rooster's career a little bit, but it was out of.
And he killed his dad.
And he killed his dad. That
was, we'll throw that one in there.
Thing. Yeah, we'll throw that in there. I can't forget that. That poor Goose. Like, Goose overshadows this entire movie, and they show his death a couple of times, right? And like they start the movie with Danger Zone, right? It felt like a different version. Maybe I just haven't heard or maybe it's the first time I've heard the song on like Atmos or whatever the hell I was on. So the song sounded different to me, but whatever. But that's how they started out. They started out giving you flashbacks. They make you feel like it's a Top Gun movie right away. And then they give you, so he's got pictures of Goose all over his workstation, wherever he's working on. I forgot.
It looks like a P-51 Mustang or something like that. Yeah. Like some classic old propeller plane.
It was fucking awesome. Whatever he was working on, it was awesome.
I think he like lives in a hangar basically. It's cool. It's got the coolest pad ever.
Yeah, I'd be okay with it. Like out in the middle of the California desert, that'd be cool. And yeah, so Rooster ends up there. He's part of the team, but he's kind of a cautious guy. So they make it look like he's not gonna make it. They run a bunch of training routines, and we got Hangman, who's kind of like the Iceman of this story.
I love the actor who's playing him. He plays him with just so much like coolness and so much charisma. Like, it's a shame we didn't get more of him actually, because he's not a huge presence in the movie, but he's cool as fuck.
No, he's definitely like, I'm just gonna be a kind of an arrogant asshole and not be afraid of it, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. And he's got a good moment at the end, right? They like they repeat. I mean, it is pretty much the same plot as Top Gun. It is, but it proves in certain areas, right? Because it's a little more modernized, it's a little more real in certain parts, especially through the character interactions. But it's just a simple, fun movie, guys. There's not a ton of plot to break down. Again, there's no Han Solo. I see Han Solo moment. Not a Han Solo moment from Disney, but from Star Wars. Yes, definitely a Han Solo moment. Yes.
Yeah. And so like the training doesn't go well because none of them can hit their target in time, and they're all kind of bummed out about it because they don't think it's possible to do. And then leave it up to Maverick. He proves that it can be done. Again, like, if this had been in the hands of a different writer and director, someone more diverse would have shown him the way and completed it for him. Someone that he'd underestimated throughout the whole movie. So again, Tom Cruise is like, nah, fuck that. I'll be taking the glory here. Right? Thank you very much. But it's a good message of, there's a lot to be said for experience and competency. And so just because someone's older doesn't mean they're this ridiculous old relic that's there to be laughed at, like Ryan Johnson might say. So yeah, I think that's a good message of the movie. And so when he proves that it can be done, the rest of them are reinvigorated by it, and it allows them to at least get ready for the mission.
Yeah, and he was initially just supposed to train him, but because of him pulling that off, he's put in charge of the mission, and then he's got to pick who are going to be his wingmen and women. Yes, there's a female pilot. She's perfectly fine. She's great. There's no problem with this character. She's not like an insufferable Disney actress. She's a normal person.
Yeah. In a way, she's kind of a non-entity. She doesn't really do a huge amount in the film. She's just a competent pilot, really. Again, different writers would have absolutely made her front and center, the best pilot that's ever lived. She would have humiliated everyone by how awesome she was. Didn't need to do it. Because no one would want that in this movie.
And there'd be a long side story with her lesbian relationship with somebody.
Yeah, probably.
Which is totally unimportant. She just blended in with the rest. She was just another actor. Okay. When they did the defenseless football scene on the beach, she wore a sports bra. I don't think that's very fair because everybody else had their shirt off.
Should have been shirtless.
Yep. Be one of the guys. You got to be one of the guys. And there's lots of great shots of Point Loma. If you're familiar with San Diego, that little cliff in the background, you always see that's Point Loma. So they were definitely on North Island. They definitely shot this mostly in San Diego and La Jolla.
It all looks great. It just looks like such an awesome place to be.
Yeah, it's unfortunately it's still in California. If it's the seeds, maybe I'll go back someday. But it's still there.
But yeah, so it's you also get that. I mean, can I talk about this? The Iceman,
whatever scene? You want. Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
This is a good scene.
It's so good, yeah, because he's been texting Iceman throughout the movie, so you haven't seen him face to face, but he's an admiral. So Maverick goes to visit him, and his wife explains that he's got cancer. It's come back because apparently he's had it before, and he basically can't speak now. Which again, it allows them to work around Val Kilmer and the fact that he's had a tracheotomy, I think. But you get a lovely scene of the two of them together, and it doesn't really get played for laughs or anything like that. It's just a nice heartfelt scene between Cruise and Kilmer, and I think it's really good. I liked it.
It was the Iceman cameo was magic. It was done with class, and we all know why it was done. And the workaround was fine, and it was impactful when he does speak real quick at the end. That was like, whoo, that was good. And just seeing Val back is awesome. Val was one of my favorite actors back in the day. Loved Val Kilmer. Thought he was great in The Doors. I was talking about that just a couple days ago. The Doors is one of my favorite like band bio flicks by Oliver Stone. Real Genius, first movie I saw him in. He was fucking awesome in that. And of course he was in Top Gun as Iceman. And that was weird because he was a big star and he was like a guest star in that. At least that's the way I saw it back in the 80s. It's like it's weird seeing Val Kilmer is like the guest star to Tom Cruise in this.
But no, Iceman was just like one of the coolest antagonists ever. Like he looked awesome. I loved his style. He was just this very methodical pilot who never made mistakes. I just think there was a lot of awesomeness to him. And some people pointed out as well, like people overlooked the fact that like in the final battle in the first Top Gun, like he basically holds his own against like 6 enemy planes by himself until Maverick can get there. Like that's pretty fucking cool all by itself.
Yep. No, he played. It was, again, it's been so long since I've seen the damn movie. But it was not something I expected them to do. So I just thought he'd be texting him or whatever, and we'd see a picture. So when I saw him in there, I didn't know he was going to be in the movie. I had no idea. So I thought that was pretty cool. And like Doc Holliday, Salton Sea, Top Secret, like Val's a legend, and of course Batman. Batman.
But no, it was great little scene of them together. And then just when they're preparing for the mission, Maverick, he goes to meet with what's her name, Penny, like Jennifer Connelly, and he's in his full like navy white uniform because he knows he might not be coming back. And I went into that finale thinking, shit, I think he's actually going to die here. I don't think Maverick's going to survive this one. It's like going to be the blaze of glory for this old character. This is how he's going to go out. So it's really good actually at ratcheting up that tension of really feeling like the main character could die in this one.
No, I totally agree. And there's a point at the end where you think it could have happened, and I wouldn't have been surprised at all. And it probably would have made for the movie would have been fine. Yeah. But like not they brought it home. I like how they brought it home too. I like they
did kind of set this up a little bit in the opening mission briefing where they talk about like the Kekistanis, how they've got like these 5th generation fighters that are the most badass things that have ever taken to the air. But they've also got a collection of older stuff like F-14 Tomcats. It's like, I wonder if that'll come into play at some point.
They just happen to have an F-14 Tomcat in a hangar that you can just turn on, and it's like it's old, but it works.
It's great. Like the F-14 is legit one of the coolest looking planes that's ever been made. I know they're old, and I know they were a nightmare to maintain, and I don't think they were particularly long ranged, but they just look amazing. And so it was really cool to see this old one take to the air, I suppose.
It was very cool. And I don't even know what the 5th generation fighters were. We don't even know.
No one does. They're just bad.
they were black, evil looking planes with
there's a great bit where they think they've shot one down, and it just does this weird like 180 midair and like stops on a dime, and you just see it go whizzing past them, and like even Rooster's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Definitely Russian jets. They were definitely Russian jets.
But it's great. Like the whole action sequence is great. Like we said before, they put in enough effort to explain the mission and what has to happen at the different stages. You understand exactly what's going on, and you understand what they're up against and what they need to do, so you can follow it. And it's just great fun. It's a bit like that canyon run, the trench run from A New Hope.
So like people weren't kidding when they said like this is the Star Wars sequel you should have gotten. I mean, it's the same thing with seeing Cobra Kai, right? It was done with the same reverence. That's what should have been done. It was so easy. And this movie proves how easy it could have been done. It was a layup. They just like, hey, we're gonna kind of mirror the plot from the first one. We got the old guy. We're gonna introduce some new guys. We're gonna show some respect, and there you go. There's your movie. Nothing really complicated at all. And I know like Hollywood has a tendency to want to make things complicated because everybody wants to put their stamp. Unfortunately, they do. They put their stamp on something, just it's unintentional. And what this director did is like basically said, screw my ego. I'm going to mimic a Tony Scott film. And he did it.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty cool.
And everyone came away from it happy. I don't think many people would have come out of the theater from seeing this and thought, oh man, what a disappointment. Fucking wish they hadn't made this movie. It's not going to happen. It was fun. It was a crowd pleasing movie. And yeah, I think a lot of people came away just feeling awesome about it.
There was Tom Cruise running. There was jets. There was, I don't know, innocuous bad guys. And there was homoerotic sporting event on the beach. So what else could you ask for?
And there was women involved in the homoerotic sporting event as well. So there's a little bit of balance.
They mixed it in a little bit, right? That's modernity right there. And the other thing they hammered home throughout the movie is like, this is a suicide mission. Like, y'all gonna die during this. You'll be lucky if you come. I mean, there's always John Hamm was like the other dick admiral. And he's always like looking at his lieutenant, kind of like every time they're like, Tom Cruise, like, we're going to bring people home. And he goes, nobody's coming home from this one, dude. And they hammered that home and they made it convincing.
I almost wondered, and they obviously didn't go for this extra layer of complexity, but if the mission would have been like some manipulation of Ed Harris, that it was almost meant to fail because it would then prove how fallible human pilots are, and it would then give him the excuse to bring in the drones that he wants to get funded. They obviously just didn't bother, going for that sort of complex story. It wasn't necessary, but if you'd wanted to add an extra layer in it, you could have had something like that. I just would have made the movie longer.
You're thinking with a writer's mind. It's almost like that was a good idea. That would have been cool. Yeah. That could be the sequel.
That's it. Yeah, he's got to hunt Ed Harris down.
God, there'll absolutely be a sequel if Ed Harris goes rogue with his drones. He goes to Kekistan and sells it to them. His program got shut down.
But no, honestly, man, it was a real blast watching this movie. Yeah, I know I've said it before. I was so happy seeing it. It was such a lovely break from the garbage that we get from Star Wars or from Marvel or any of that stuff. It was just a holiday. It was a little holiday for me. And I liked it.
Dude, it's been like terrible lately, right? I mean, we've got the Disney Plus coming, like just 2 Marvel things coming out, 2 trailers that look terrible. Kenobi is awful. It's just awful. So like, I'm glad I saw this afterwards. I saw Kenobi first, and then I went and saw this movie in the morning before Friday Night Tights. And it was really nice kind of walking in the Friday Night Tights going, I just saw a really good movie. I was in such a good mood. Hey.
Yeah, I mean, I won't waste your time talking about Kenobi. I'll save that for another time. But yeah, it's fucking shit. It's going to be an interesting review. But yeah, as far as Top Gun goes, yeah, I hope it does really well. I hope it somehow makes $1 billion and teaches Hollywood, yes, this can work. Movies like this are what people like. Keep making more of them, please.
Yeah, I agree. I hope this, like, I don't know if it will be, but I would love this to be like the runaway hit of the summer, like the sleeper hit of the summer. It's been a while since we've had a sleeper hit anyway. And I know it's weird to call Top Gun a sleeper hit, but it is in the current era. That's just not Marvel, because that's all we have, or some Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah.
That this is kind of it, or a rare, the Batman movie we get pretty much regularly every 5 years now. It'd be just nice to see. It would force the genre to mix it up too, and then maybe we can get, like, the thing is, we're holding on to yet as a sequel to a movie 35 years later that ends up being the good thing. That's still not a good thing for Hollywood. Hollywood needs something original to be very, very good. This is a step in the right direction, because it was just like, hey, let's go back to basics, which is something we have all been. See, the sad thing is, as on a day where I'm not kidding, on Memorial Day, there's multiple articles. That's more than two, because they all spread off of each other on how toxic fandom is. That Hollywood just forgets that before it got this bad, before they started writing scripts with the intention of pissing people off, it was just people going, "Hey, we still want to enjoy your stuff. It just sucks right now," and we're telling you it sucks. In mass, we're telling you it sucks. And instead of going, "Wow, maybe our stuff sucks and we should make the paying customer, all of them, happy," instead of just the 5 we want to make happy who don't buy anything, they just double triple down, and this was the reverse effect of that. And from a company that's just as woke as any other company, but this one, Tom Cruise, the crazy Scientologist, decided he saw the writing on the wall, and he largely is him. And well, until very recently, Will Smith were probably the last movie stars, right?
Yeah.
This is it for the movie star. I mean, it's on its way out, and it's probably on its way out with Tom Cruise.
Yeah, I would say so. Nobody else has risen to that position of power where they can make movies like this happen just by being involved. Nobody else has got that, and nobody's got the balls to stand up to like the studio system or the executives and say, like, "No, this is garbage. I'm going to make the kind of movie I want to make." They just don't have the clout. They don't have the ability to do it. So he's the last of that breed of actors who can actually do that and can be that draw. He's done this. He's got the Mission Impossible movies. They are reliably brilliant at this point. Like, they are genuinely great, and they seem to have gotten better with each installment. So, I mean, that's good as well. But again, it's just a limited window that this is going to all be happening. There needs to be something lined up after him when he's retired or when he's too old for it. And I just don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah, and I don't know who it's going to be. Like Robert Downey Jr., people thought he would be it, but outside Iron Man, it didn't really work. Same with
and damn, like I saw a picture of him not that long ago, and he looks god awful. Like, he seems to have dropped about 30 pounds. He seems to have aged about 20 years. Like, I don't know, man. That's what veganism does to you, I think.
Yeah. There's a lot of veganism is running rampant in Hollywood right now.
Somebody please get Robert Downey Jr. a cheeseburger steak.
Yeah, a steak. A well done steak. No, I'm just kidding.
Fuck off.
All right. But we've got you for like 5 more minutes, right? Because I want to make sure you get out. Because
I'm going to have to go shortly.
To go. But I'm going to see if there's any questions for you that I can find quickly. Okay. So we got a new job. So here's my first super chat. Oh, welcome. We'll be gentle. Would have seen in the theater because I like military aviation, but the Chinese censorship stuff put me off. Well, Miles, I have some very happy news for you, Miles Chang. Thank you for the $10. They uncensored it.
Okay.
The Taiwanese patch is back on the jacket. So
I can't believe they took that off in the first place.
That was ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous. Taiwan is a country, by the way.
It's not had a release in China anyway, has it?
Oh, it's not going to be released in China. It doesn't need
all right. Well, fuck them then.
Yeah.
Should have just made it China instead of Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah, they should have. It would have been more believable too. Maybe in the next movie he can be saving Taiwan, which we'll probably have to be doing soon. But they did uncensor it for China. The fact that they did in the first place, though, is stupid. I totally agree. It's fucking dumb. If you could pick any action sci-fi franchise to have over to Tom Cruise and team, or have the Tom Cruise team create, which one would you pick?
I think they could have done a good job with Halo in that case. Like that kind of more grounded, non-bullshitty approach to filmmaking. I wouldn't really have cast Tom Cruise as Master Chief, of course, but you know what I mean? Like, his team could have done a good job with it.
I think that approach. Ooh, wow. A sci-fi franchise, the one that isn't dead.
Something that desperately need of saving.
Star Trek. I would love people to approach Star Trek with the way they approach this film. Just make Star Trek. Remember what Star Trek is, and not make it something it isn't. And it's really simple, by the way. What Hollywood has done time and time again is made very simple things overly complicated. Star Wars is the most simplistic story out there. The original trilogy is pure simplicity. It is bad guy versus good guy, chosen one. That's it. There's no we don't know how the Empire got its money. We know they dissolved the Senate. This prior to the prequels, we knew very little, and we didn't need to because we were all looking at it from Luke's perspective, this backwater planet, and this guy just knows that the Empire's bad. That doesn't even really affect his planet, so it's the simplicity needs to come back. We don't need to overexplain, especially with oh my god, with exposition, dude. Oh, exposition is so bad right now.
Yeah, and I think as well, like the more complexity you introduce to a franchise, the more things you'll fuck up because you'll inevitably start contradicting yourself and getting things wrong. I mean, well, look at the MCU. Look at Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness, where you've now got this world where portals and magic and all these different spells and you can hop between universes and all this stuff is now established as being possible. Like, well, okay, well, why would it ever not happen in future? Now it can be used to resolve anything that ever comes up. But it now needs to be accounted for in every movie going forward now. It's all just these extra layer upon layer of complexity and lore and just things that are possible that you now need to explain away every time something else comes up. It'll drive you insane. And it probably has to Marvel.
It has, and they probably feel like they got to ratchet everything up when it's really easy to go simple. Just go make a Daredevil movie. Yeah. Go into Hell's Kitchen for a trilogy. Take a break, But I could go on and on about how the blip screwed everything up. They didn't need to do that. They could have just followed the Infinity Gauntlet, their own source material. That's all they needed to do. All right, so I'm gonna let you go, my friend. It is time. Is there anything you'd like to plug before you leave?
My new book, Dark Harvest, is going to be coming out in August, and it's available to pre-order on Amazon. I put a link to it in my previous video for Top Gun Maverick. So if anyone's inclined to try and pick up a book that I've written, give it a go, and maybe you might enjoy it. Who knows?
I will find that link and put it in the description. I also have the links to both of your channels to subscribe to. So subscribe often to this man if you haven't already. This is one of the best YouTubers on the planet. Try to call him a friend. So thanks for popping in, dude. And I really appreciate talking Top Gun with you. And we'll see.
I will talk Top Gun with you anytime, Gary. Thanks, man.
Oh, yeah. Take care, brother. Have
All right. Thanks, buddy.
Critical Drinker, ladies and gentlemen. I felt like he popped in and we wanted to get him on Friday Night Tights and we couldn't. So we got our 200th episode coming up. And yes, we have Alex Jones coming on for the first part, and then we'll probably bring some other people on for the second part and probably turn the nerd up quite a bit because I know a lot of the guys want to talk. I don't know, man. I saw Kenobi. I have no interest in continuing at all. Like I got my butt kicked in a poll on a nooner. I was like, should I review Kenobi? And you guys said yes. And I'm like, oh God, so I'll watch it because I wasn't going to watch it at all. So I watched it for free, not giving them money. I hate giving them like pirate points. You know what I mean? Even though I was just sharing a password, it's still a click for them, dude. And it's like, I felt embarrassed, dirty afterwards. And it was terrible. It was terrible. So it was really nice to see something really good after that. And then, I saw people in the chat, Stranger Things 4, a little bit of a slow start for me. But it's pretty good. Yeah, it's definitely an improvement on seasons 2 and 3, which I didn't like very much. So I think this is probably the best it's been since season 1. We'll see where it goes. we'll see where it goes. But yeah, so there's a couple good things out there. Maybe they're getting the message that as far as as far as Hollywood getting our message, and our message has always been stop attacking us, stop dividing, stop being a bunch of, for one, you are the last people on earth to be preaching anything to us ever. A lot of you have just were straight out of your art college or your film school, and you went and worked in Hollywood. You have not worked an honest day in your life. And I'm talking about largely the creatives, the bankers in charge of this, completely out of touch with any of us. Okay. Those of us who have had to work 1, 2, 3 jobs, 8, fucking 80 hours a week sometimes. That's what I did. I know that's what I did for years and years and years and years and years. And you know what? We just want a little entertainment, and you provided that for so long. But now you've become this tool of division. That's it. You're a tool of division. You lost your mind in 2016, and a lot of you have just not recovered, and you don't understand that we are not the enemy. We are not the enemy. And just because we're honest and we'll call you out on your bullshit doesn't make us the enemy necessarily. But that's the way you see it. And I'm about to, I saw the article from George R. R. Martin. I saw the article about Star Wars fans, and it's, with Star Wars, I don't know what else there is to say. Lucasfilm hates you. They hate me. They have, and I can't believe I'm saying this because this sounds fucking crazy, because it is. Members of Lucasfilm have conspired with people to try to discredit YouTube channels who are simply men and women sitting in their rooms speaking their opinions. Going so far is to try to have and succeeding for a little while. They made the video about Ryan being radicalized. They mentioned me in that article. They mentioned Jeremy in that, both Jeremys in that article. And you know what? That gets us put in certain categories when it comes to searching on Google, the monopoly known as Google. And that's their whole intention. They don't give a shit what we say. They don't care what we think. They just want to. So that was being helped out by employees at Lucasfilm. They were getting signal boosted by Pablo Hidalgo. I mean, these are facts. These are things that have happened. If you would have told me they were going to happen, I said you're fucking crazy. But they didn't happen. This is how insane it's gotten. So yes, your voice matters because they're still listening to it. They brought it up essentially at Star Wars Celebration. During their celebration, they couldn't keep us out of their mind. Why? Because they know we're right. They know we're right. The fan's always right. The fan will always win in the end. And I mean, Kenobi, Star Wars is dead. Star Wars was dead before Kenobi came out. I saw Kenobi. Star Wars is still dead. I mean, if you want to hang on to hope with Andor, Juan Solo, okay. But it's not going to change. Disney can't make Star Wars. They've had it for 10 years. They cannot make Star Wars. They are very bad at making Star Wars. Kathleen Kennedy is fucking terrible. If they would approach things like Tom Cruise approached Top Gun Maverick, and it was really that simple. It's really that simple. Kathleen Kennedy's her motivation when she got in charge of Star Wars is, I'm going to use this. I'm going to use this as a platform now for change. I'm not going to entertain. Like, entertainment did not even cross her fucking mind. And maybe Lucas and it's mostly Spielberg and her husband Frank has been keeping her from doing that for years and years and years. And now that she feels like she has her shackles off, she can make the change she wants to be. And yeah, it's shit. It's shit. And as I said on Twitter today, I would really appreciate a content warning, a shit content warning every time I see something on Disney Plus. But it's Kenobi's poorly acted, it's poorly directed, it's poorly edited, it's poorly written. I'm sorry, there's a 10-year-old girl in it. I got nothing against the 10-year-old girl. The 10-year-old girl running like a 10-year-old girl is fine. It's just the adults looking like they're at a party, pretending to chase a 10-year-old girl, but not catch her. You know how the adults do that? That's exactly what was going on. It was very easy to put Benny Hill music to it. And I think there's 6 episodes, so we're a third way through the series. And it's terrible. It's fucking terrible. And there was a time I felt bad for Star Wars fans, but you know what you're going to get now. You know what you're going to get. I still think it just going after Star Wars now is just being repetitive. I mean, I think a lot of times we can be our own worst enemy. And, you know, we want, like, I'm seeing this go on with Doctor Who fans. There's most Doctor Who fans out there right now are probably like, all right, I'll wait and see. But I ain't getting my hopes up. That's probably the most realistic I would consider you should be as a Doctor Who fan. I mean, be whatever you want to be, but that's where I'm at. I'm just like, I think it's pretty dead, but we'll see what happens. But I see people getting their hopes up out there, and it's like, whew. I'd love to be wrong. But we're not about Star Wars. I mean, like, Marvel is a separate company. It's a separate autonomous company, but they are on the same trajectory. They are owned by Disney, who was on the same trajectory. Everything they do is the same. I mean, the like Kenobi is MCU. Kenobi is MCU. Boba Fett was MCU. Somebody's trying to get in. Thank you. I gotta fix that doorknob. There's 2 cups of coffee in there. This is my 3rd cup of coffee. Thanks, lady. You're awesome. Quarter Black's here too. I can't go on for super long, so we're gonna work on the office. Quarter Black's here, so I'm gonna. He did? Oh, good. Quarter Black's at the gym. I'm gonna read some soups. And again, once again, thanks for Critical Drinker coming in for an hour, making some time for us on this Memorial Day. David Harvey, holy crap, for $100. Thank you. Thanks for the stream. Covering this, thankfully, non-woke film. I'm sure this will make all the SJWs out there continue to lose their questionable minds. Yes, I haven't looked, but I'm sure there's some like it's jingoistic or some term like that. It's pro-American, imperialist, colonialist, blah, 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 whatever. I'm sure that will happen. But thank you very much for the $100. Yeah, I don't think Tom Cruise cares or Paramount, because they made a lot of money. And I hope they continue to make a lot of money without China. Jay Schwalbach for $56.76. You and your weird amounts. That's awesome. I just got back from 7 days in Mexico. Oh, awesome. And now I'm in an alternate universe. I heard somewhere that you guys do. I heard somewhere all you guys do is shit on movies. Does this mean I can't believe everything I hear on the internet? Hail Friday Night Tights. Yes, you can believe it. I love this movie. And so far, I'm liking Stranger Things season 4 too. I like. Fact of the matter is, there's just a lot of shit out there. If they made something good, we'd talk about it. I'd say, like, within our sphere, Cobra Kai is pretty universally loved. So that's not shitting on something. I would say within our sphere, Top Gun is pretty universally loved. I would say within our sphere, a few of us like the Snyder Cut. I would say within our sphere, a few of us like the Suicide Squad. I would say within our sphere, I haven't seen it yet, but Everything Everywhere All at Once is pretty much universally loved by the people who have seen it. The Northman, we love the Northman. Well, all we do is shit on movies. That's fine. Well, I mean, there's a lot to shit on, to be honest with you. That's the majority right now. Whose fault is that? Is that your fault? No, it's not your fault. Is that my fault? No, it's not my fault. Last time I checked, you and I are not writing these movies. Now, if they got the Critical Drinker to write a movie, it would probably be pretty good because he's a writer. And I'll get those links for you. I've got all his books except for his new one that's coming out. Our audiobooks too. Cheers and thank you, Mr. Schwalbach. Andrew Hoyle for 2532. Thank you very much. Says, by the way, this is on the donation side, so this is all circumventing Mama Susan. Here, have some real money. Should be worth about 50,000 Biden bucks. Oh, yeah. So people are liking Top Gun. Exactly when can we expect to be it to be classified as an alt-right recruitment video? Oh, any day now. Any day now. If it's pissing off those weirdos, it's doing something right. I think the weirdos were much too concerned with the first 5 minutes of Kenobi, trying to link it to certain events. Now, Data Racer put up a lot of those tweets, and I guess those are real people, but they said a lot of the same things. It's weird how that works, and I hope Elon's investigation of Twitter bots is thorough, and I hope we find out, because I think it's half. I'm just going to come out and say I think it's fucking half. But yes, it's pissing off people, I would say. Gerald Armstrong for $5 says, "Hail Gary and Drinker. Tyrone Magnus did a couple of reactions to your videos, and he said he would love to collaborate with you. I will pass that on. I will pass that on to the Drinker." Andrew Hoyle for 2532. I read that one. Sorry. Silverfish Stone for $20. First time donating. Oh. I found this show through Shadversity. We love Shad. Shad is a brilliant dude, and I've been watching ever since. I love the show, and I don't watch movies anymore because y'all's reviews are much better and more entertaining and worth my time. Hail Friday Night Tights. Well, that's a very kind thing to say. Thank you. I'll be honest, they give us a lot of low-hanging fruit. I'd love to say we're a bunch of geniuses, but the movies are just that bad and easy to make fun of. I saw, what did I see? The pitch meeting for Thor and for Moon Knight. And I like the fact that we all pointed out the same things, including in Moon Knight when they reversed the sky when they could have just used a fucking app. And I genuinely wondered, did the writers of Moon Knight not know there's an app that can look back through the constellations through thousands of years, hundreds of thousands of years? Because we can track where the stars go based on the spin and the wobble of the Earth, because it doesn't really change that much. That we notice. Das Pooch Oh, that one's old. Okay, so here we go. Jesus Davilia, thank you for the $20. Doesn't say anything. Thank you, Jesus. I appreciate it. How you doing? Here's a 20 spot for making me laugh my ass off. Oh, well, you're welcome. Thank you. And well, that's refreshing. I will just show this one right here. If Reva followed Bail to Kenobi's cave, game over. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, she should obviously know he's there now because she is really brilliant. And remember, if we criticize her acting, and thank you, by the way, Qui-Gon for 40. Oh, what is that? What is that? I'm going to just say Martian pesos. I don't recognize that denomination, but thank you. If you criticize her, you're racist. And the reason Disney Star Wars got out ahead of it because they knew Kenobi was crap, and they've known for a while. So why not go on a full-on offensive against the fans instead? Oh, that's right. Gosh golly, I got to go somewhere else. Hang on. Sorry. I have to go to an alternative place to see these soups because they don't show up on Streamlabs when you do something through StreamYards, and I'm boring you with stuff you don't care about. So I'll stop. Maverick was such a refreshing movie. I'm glad it came out when it did, especially in such a dark time for cinema. Says Roja for $4.99. I agree. I think a lot. Remember when Spider-Man came out? The first Spider-Man, it was, a few months after 9/11. And, the country was still, I know 9/11 probably, it still has impact, but not the impact it did now that we've gone through 2 years of COVID, we'll just say. So this generation's had their 9/11, so to speak. But when 9/11 happened, like nothing happened to America for our entire lives. Nothing on our soil that was this big. So it rocked everybody's world. Everything stopped. There was no planes in the sky for 2 days. That was weird. 2 or 3 days. Everybody stopped going to work. Again, now after 2 years of COVID, it might not seem like much, but like that's the world stopped. So America needed a good time. Now it was way more united than we were after COVID and the summer of love and everything. People were flying American flags. Remember when Congress went out, both parties, and saying, "God bless America"? That'll never fucking happen again. But yeah, Spider-Man came out and it was just a movie that was fun. So it was a good movie that was very well timed. I think this is kind of similar. If Reva, I read that one. Also, another thing about Kenobi, have they forgotten that blasters that can stun exist? Asked Robert White for 5 British pounds. They probably don't even know. Set it for stun. They need to chase a 10-year-old girl badly. And Bale, like it's Bale's job. It's Bale's job to keep Leia safe. It is not Ben's job. It's Bale's job. But see, I watched it and I just didn't care. I laughed, but I didn't care. Can you talk about how disappointing Gore looks, and can Bale somehow salvage the character in spite of Feige's pure laziness? I can. First step too far for $5. Gore the God Butcher is got a, for what, he's a very otherworldly alien look. Go just Google it from the comic books. It's supposed to convince you that this being can kill gods. And it tells you why. Because his race was told to put faith in the gods. And, well, they did. And the gods, as the way Gore sees it, failed them. And he wants revenge on all of them. I mean, Bale's a great actor. Christian Bale is a great actor. He could salvage probably quite a bit. The fact that female Thor is in this movie at all is stupid. So if you want to, if Marvel really wanted you to have a good time and they wanted to make a Thor movie, then make a fucking Thor movie. You don't need to, it's Thor isn't the character. You need to put 15 other characters in. That would be Captain Marvel. That would be Miss Marvel. That would be Echo. That would be all of your new characters. That'd be Captain Black Falcon. Those are the characters you're going to need to put 16 other characters with. Thor ain't one of them. Thor, Hulk, Spider-Man, I would argue even Doctor Strange. Just have Thor versus a bad guy. Thor by himself versus a bad guy with a supporting cast of non-superheroes. Or maybe, I don't know. Oh, you can't bring back the Warriors 3. But or sure you can. Whatever. Thor versus Gore. That's what it should be. It shouldn't be Thor and Valkyrie and female Thor versus Gore. That's fucking lame. Especially with those effects. They look terrible. Big Worm for $10 says, hail again. Hail. Just can't believe how Disney Star Wars has all this money, technical talent, and can't hire a writing team, even my level of writing capability. Such an absolute waste. Please, pisses me off. Live long and prosper. Live long and prosper to you too. Because writers get in the way. Things are not created anymore to be art. They are produced to be content. So this is a producer driven market. So you're seeing art purely as a commodity. And wow, it comes out that way and it really sucks. A commodity and a platform. Big Worm for $10 more says, since you saw Obi-Wan, imagine if he went back to that cave and meditated, trained, used the Force, but loser Obi-Wan in public. Yeah, same with Owen in public versus private when he'll train, live long and prosper. Yeah, kind of like Clark Kent. Hide your identity, be somebody else. I don't know, maybe even shave your beard since you had a beard, have a different haircut, and yeah, be somebody totally different in public. And then you get back to that cave and you are just freaking training and getting sharp and communing with Qui-Gon. That'd be kind of fun. But no. I mean, there still has to be loss. Like he's training, he's trying to be sharp, but like maybe at the end of that training session, you just see him depressed, like totally fucking depressed. Like, I'm doing this. I'm resolute, but I know full well that we lost the battle and we could lose. Like, we've lost everything, and we've got a snowball's chance in hell of turning this thing around. But I'm gonna try it. So there can be defeated yet resolute, but that would take some talent. Gary, did you get a chance to see Star Trek: The Motion Picture 4K Director's Edition released on the big screens? I did. It was beautifully remastered. I did not. Pizza Magic-y Fool for $20. Thank you. I wanted to. I didn't get a chance. Hopefully, I'll be able to see it on my home theater. which is, I mean, it's not IMAX or anything, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker talking about a great movie. Happy Memorial Day, says Slack Attack for $5. Yes, happy Memorial Day, everyone. Yeah, so for those of you who aren't in the States, this is the day we remember our victorious dead, the honored dead who fought for our freedom. Whether you agreed with them or not, they went out and made the ultimate sacrifice so we could bitch about Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and our president and our government and debate things openly, at least for now. And we remember them. I'm pretty sure this was supposed to be a hypothetical Iran, hence the strike on a nuclear reactor. Yeah. Though I saw the movie overseas in the Middle East, so I could be wrong due to the edits. Were there edits? I mean, it was in a snowy country, so I don't know. Yeah, that's why I think everybody was assuming Russia, just because it was like the end of the movie was in a cold environment, we will say. Well, Ryan E, thank you for the 100. Is it a Qatar? Qatar Real? I don't know what that is. Martian pesos. When I can't identify it, I just call it a Martian peso. Thank you very much. 100 Martian pesos. It's Rogue Nation. It was just like generic Rogue Nation, and that's all it needed to be. But yeah, you could probably imagine it being Iran, and any country that wants us dead right now, which is, well, pick your poison on that one. Bass player 2011 Iffy for $5. I don't think Cruise will ever go away. His acting days may be numbered, but he will probably be producing for the rest of his life, along with Reeves. Yeah. He's still got, I mean, Tom Cruise has got a easy 15 years left of viability where he can be in stuff and produce stuff. He's fine. I don't know if he'll be running around jumping off of motorcycles much longer, but he could go in dramatic roles and stuff, be fine. Maybe he should take a crack at TV. Michael Storm says, recently started doing nostalgic weekends with my friends. We gather for some barbecue and watch some old 80s, 90s. Serotonin levels increased, says Michael. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I've just been on a steady diet of Babylon 5 right before I do my Orville rewatch. The Orville is what Star Trek should be right now. Speaking of the Orville, says Mike Hill for $5. I totally agree. It'll be out in 2 days, right? 2 days. Or is it 3 days? Thursday, right? Comes out on Thursday. So 3 days. Disney flying blind on a rocket cycle with Obi-Wan, says Tiberius Crackus II for $2. Disney has been flying blind for a long time. They bought a couple of franchises. They thought that was enough. They thought that would be enough just to bring everybody in. They didn't think they had to put in any effort, and quite frankly, they didn't for a long time. But Obi-Wan, I believe, is already being overshadowed by a couple of things. Top Gun and Stranger Things. Christopher McQuarrie and Henry Cavill want to do a Man of Steel sequel while doing Mission Impossible Fallout and pitched it to WB, but they said no. Well, I would tell them to repitch it, Kyle Sanger, for $5 because there is a new guy in town and his name is Zaslav. And and Ann Sarnoff is gone, and she was a dumb. See you next Tuesday. In the theater I was at the end, everyone had a smile on their face and happy, but except, you guessed it, the blue-haired land whales sitting beside me. Oh, at and that rhymed too. Thank you, G-Man. 44324 for $6.99. Well, yeah, the fact that I don't know why they went. Probably to complain about it. I don't know why they went. I will ask Drinker if he's seen Only the Brave. Kyle Sanger for $2. Thank you very much. I want messaging in Top Gun 2 America. Hell yeah. There could have been there was a lot of pro America stuff in there. Tiara Starbrighter for $2. Watching Team America tonight might be good though. Maverick, they can still make them like they used to. Yes, they can, Diano. Thank you for the 5 British pounds. Proper money. Felipe Abrigo for 5,000 Chilean pesos. Hi, guys. I'm a CGI artist, and I am sick of all the CGI crap. Looks awful and no weight at all. Well, I would see this movie, but I live in a vaccination trade. I got it. I'm trying to figure out what this word is. Vaccinazi. Oh, tarded country. Okay. So I'm screwed. Oh, so you have to be vaccinated to see a movie? Really? That's crazy. I mean, hey, go get your 5th booster just like Gavin Newsom and then still get COVID. Go for it. They say that getting your 5th or 16th booster lessens your chances of getting COVID when you get COVID. So, yeah. Infinite Main for $5. Anyone catch David Bowie's Let's Dance playing when Jennifer Connelly was introduced? Great Labyrinth callback. I did. Bowie. The world is not the same without Bowie. It's just not. It's a darker world without Bowie. Miss that guy. Mike Hill for $10. Top 3 movies of the year so far. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, Top Gun, and The Northman. I would, I'm going to see Everything, Everywhere, All at Once in the next couple of days. So we'll see. But I would agree with the other 2. For sure. Mr. Buttcrack Media for $5 says, Hale, Gary, and Drinker went to go see Top Gun. It was awesome going to see it again. Good. Have a good time. Definitely see it in the IMAX if you can. It's fucking worth it. Better screamer, Tom Cruise or Christian Bale? Ooh. Oh, at the Crew, Christian Bale wins because he's got the dot 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 dot. Good for you. A little more animated. I'll give it to Christian Bale. Will we get a Nerdrotic RRR review? It's epic. Greg J for I can say $4.99. I'm gonna try to see it on the 1st. It's back in theaters on the 1st, so I will try and see it. That is 2 days from now. Depends on how much work I get done today. I can't even make a video today because I'll be unplugging everything when I'm done with this live stream and moving all my equipment. Garrett and I spent the evening last night going over our road because we're traveling so much. So I got a bunch of road equipment. So we had to make sure it worked. And it all works. We're missing stuff. Of course. Of course I'm missing stuff. But we're getting ready for the meetup in Dallas. We're going to be doing Friday Night Heights from Dallas. We'll be doing a meetup the day before. We'll be going to a con. And hopefully we won't get sick like everybody at Geeks and Gamers did, but whatever. I'm not worried about it. I'm going. We got our passes. We're ready to go. So that's, if you're wondering, the 16th at Gators, 6 p.m. If you're in the Texas area, if if you're near Dallas, come by and see us. It's free. It's free. It's at a bar/restaurant. I think there's pool tables. You'll be able to get, buy food if you want, but there's a bar, and we'll be there with stuff, hanging out. I wondered if they borrowed the mission from Ace Combat 7. They might have Gerald Armstrong. I don't know for $4.99. I honestly don't know. That is Tom's own private P-51 plane. He owns it. Oh, I'm not surprised. And that plane is fucking awesome. It was just beautiful. I love, like, the World War II era planes were just the best. Spitfires and P-51s. Cubus, and that is Cubus SC7 for 2 European pesos. Gerald J for $4.49. What we get Nerdrotic? Oh, I read that one. In reality, the best pilot's not going to be a 26-year-old lieutenant with 1,200 flight hours. It's going to be a crusty 55-year-old reservist who's been an airline pilot for 20 years with 10,000 hours. Yeah, that makes more sense to me. Yes, big text for $10. It's going to be the person who's done it the most. They might have to wear glasses. No, you can't wear glasses when you're a pilot, but I'm thinking of driving. But yeah, there's no substitute for experience. Doc Holliday is my favorite Val Kilmer character. This is my kill. I would have to agree with that. Tombstone is fucking brilliant. It's so sad what happened to Val. Val was a legend, man. Val Kilmer was Ryan Reynolds before Ryan Reynolds. If you ever saw Real Genius, which is a fucking great movie, it is a great 80s movie about partying and getting laid and nerds. It's a great movie. Second ever Nooner Super Anime Rec Arcadia of my youth, says Loco Miguel. Thank you for the second super. I appreciate it. Their Su-57s very maneuverable. Yeah, they look very maneuverable. If they can actually do that, that's crazy. Doing the whole flipping in Southern California, we call making a U-turn, we call it flipping a bitch. It's a term that goes back as far back as time goes. So when you hear me say it can flip a bitch in midair, it means make a U-turn. Because when you have to make a U-turn, it means you're kind of a bitch because you don't know where you're going. That's the way it is. Matthew Matson for $9.99. I love that it's Penny Benjamin, the Admiral's daughter from the first movie, and that Jen was in Labyrinth and was introduced with the Bowie song in Maverick. Yes. I didn't even make that freaking connection, Matthew. I didn't. That she was the Admiral's daughter from the first one. Hitting the Admiral's daughter. Dave's Internal Rage for $4.99. If you don't pick any action sci-fi franchise over the hat, I read this one. But thanks again, Dave's Eternal Rage. Miles Chang, did I read this one? Got a new job. This is my first super chat. Would have seen it in the theater because I like military aviation. Oh, I bet I did this one. But again, he talked about the Chinese edit. They took it out. So you can go. Unless you're like, hey, they shouldn't do this shit at all. Then, yeah, I'm going to be with you on that one. Oh, we got some sad news. Got some very sad news. X-Ray Girl's dog passed away. Harley. The one Ryan loves so much. Yeah. That's very sad. So, Think about X-Ray Girl. She's kind of sad right now. Anakmamon for $10. I said it once and I'll say it again. Top Gun 2, this is how you do it. Reverence, not tearing down. Fuck Obi-Wan, fuck Lucasfilm, fuck Disney, more Top Gun 2, more Cobra Kai, more Snyder Cut. In short, listen to the fans, ignore the SJWs. USA. I totally agree with that. When the fans, I mean, this is a very exceptional case of listening to the fans. When half of your fandom is pissed off, that is very, very bad. You're not going to make everybody happy. I understand that. So there's a percentage of acceptable unhappiness. I would say it would be, you would probably want to keep that down to 15%. Tops. But when it's 50, 55, 60, then you've got a huge problem on your hands and you need to go back to the drawing board and fix things. But Kathleen Kennedy is such a myopic narcissist and a simpleton. She doesn't understand that just a simple, a little bit of humility would have gone a long way with Star Wars fans. Now, we are way past that point. That is gone. That is absolutely gone. So what Star Wars fans are doing is, sure, you got channels out there that are just there. They're called Star Wars Theory, Star Wars Explained. Those are going to be Star Wars channels. You can still be honest and still love Star Wars. And maybe some of them are. I don't know. I don't really watch that stuff because I'm not interested in Star Wars anymore. And the interest is dead and it's not coming back. So when I watched it, it was purely just curiosity, but I felt nothing for Obi-Wan. I saw the intro with the prequels, felt nothing. Order 66 was going on, which was probably the best part. It was still really sloppily directed and edited and choreographed. It was really sloppy. Like Deborah Chow is not your answer, ladies and gentlemen. A lot was made out of Deborah Chow. Deborah Chow did a terrible job. Did a terrible job directing. And Disney can't make television. They have a big problem. It's over. They can sit there and we're plotting the future and we're just going to fuck around with Ahsoka and we might get away from the Skywalker saga. Well, you already did get away. You've gotten away from the Skywalker saga because you killed it. So you don't really have a choice. And Kathleen Kennedy could come out and she could say, well, things we'd like to hear. Like, oh, this Star Wars isn't fun anymore. Well, whose fucking fault is that? You've had it for a fucking decade and you haven't listened to it. And guess what? Some of your people are already getting out in front and calling us fucking racist again. So this is really heartfelt, Disney. Fuck you. Go fuck yourself. Fucking die. David Harvey. Did I read this one already? I'm going to read it again because it's a freaking $100. Thanks for the stream covering and thankfully non-woke film. I am sure that they will make this will make all the SJWs out there continue to lose their questionable minds. Very questionable. Like I said, though, they're way too busy being triggered by the beginning of Obi-Wan. I would, as I said, I'll say it again. As long as we're doing content warnings, could I get a shit content warning before everything on Disney Plus? I'd appreciate that. Don't waste your time with Kenobi. Go watch Top Gun. Go watch Top Gun. Even if you're not a Top Gun fan, You don't even need to watch the first movie. You don't. They give you enough reference to what happened in the first movie, which is just Goose dying. That's it. That's all you need to know. There's no reference to the other fighters. Iceman will just feel like a guy who was. They give you enough to where you don't even need it. Now, I would recommend watching the first movie if you haven't. It's an 80s movie. And this essentially is an 80s movie. And as good as it is, it's a throwback that's character driven and a lot of fun, like I said in my tweet. But it also shows you how bad Hollywood is right now. When something like this is resonating with so many people who just want, what? I think a lot of people just want, quote unquote, normality back. They want pre 2019. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen. It's just, we don't live in that world anymore. And if we want some semblance of it back, we're going to have to fight for it. We're going to have to fight long and hard for it. But just a little reminder here and there is going to resonate with a lot of people. Now, it's not things. I'm not going to tell you things are great, but they're not the darkest of times either. Okay. There's always shit going on. We just know more about it than we ever have before. And honestly, unless you're seeing something outside your window, there's not a lot you can do right now other than be nice. That's all. Hollywood isn't nice, though. See, that's why I think Tom Cruise was very smart to put that message at the beginning of his film. And like I said at the beginning of this live stream, I don't care if it was scripted. I don't care if he didn't write it. I don't care if he yelled at his assistant afterwards. It was the thought that, like, we should put a little message before this film. Thank you for coming to the theater. Thank you for spending your hard-earned money. This was made for you to have fun. Wow. Wait a minute. Aren't you supposed to call me a racist or something? This is really weird. I don't know how to act. It was kind of like when I went and got my car registration here in Texas, and the lady was super nice and helpful. I was like, I don't know what to do. I'm a little confused right now. Would you just please give me a little attitude and walk away for like 10 minutes like they did in California? Because I'm a little confused. The CCP had a cow. Let him have a fucking cow. Have a bunch of cows. Choke on your fucking cows, CCP. Nerd Cookies. Obi-Wan was cringe-worthy, bad, horrific, amateur hour. This is Nerd Cookies saying this. It was amateur hour. It was a freaking joke. Thank you. Hail Nerd Cookies, by the way. Congratulations on all your success. You deserved it. You agree, Gary, that Seth will probably be left alone by Disney to develop Orville as he sees fit? I think Orville, that's from it's PJ from Orville Nation. What's up, buddy? $5. I think there was a time, I think yes, because Seth has made Fox billions of dollars. That guy has made billions. Wish he'd dial it back on the politics on Twitter a little bit, Seth. Remember who your fans are. They're everybody. But I just read an article on Friday Night Tights. I don't know if you saw it, PJ, but there's a proposal out there. It's just floating around in the ether. It's not a proposal, but it makes sense that they don't need Disney Plus and Hulu anymore. It's a little repetitive. And what do they do in hard times? They get rid of redundancies. at companies, and Hulu could be considered a redundancy. They owe Hulu. There's still a $24 billion payment. No, it's sorry. It's a $17 billion payment they still owe on Hulu. And they could sell their stake in Hulu and turn that $17 billion payment into $24 billion in income. So it was just a proposal. It makes sense. So I don't know. I honestly don't know. If things continue to go down, Disney will have to sell something, and Hulu might be it. We'll see. We'll see. Will they leave Seth alone? I think you'd be smart to do that. Fox left him alone, but I don't know. I don't know if it'll be around. Would love to join you in Dallas, Gary, but will be on my first mission trip in New York City that week. But I am a Texan, so no doubt we'll have another chance. Yes, you will, T. Stoney. And good luck on you, and thanks for the good luck to you out there, and thanks for the $5. Armando 94. I had a friend in elementary school, Armando Gomez. He was my bud. Definitely recommend seeing Top Gun Maverick in IMAX. Saw it this weekend and will see it again. Thank you for the $4.99. Yeah, it is worth the price of admission. All right. There we go. Hey, Gary, my birthday was on Friday. Rewatched The Northman, and after the weekend of junk food, I'm back at the gym. Good. Get lifting, my fellow nerds. Hail. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go later. Quarter Black's there right now. I'll have to go later. Yes, indeed. Disney has failed miserably. Miserably. I mean, there we go. Okay. Hey, Gary, I watched Counterpart on your recommendation. I can say that word. One of the best TV shows I've seen. The enemy of Star Wars nostalgia is apathy, and it's killing the brand. Yes, and we are well into the apathetic phase of Star Wars, and they know it. I don't know what the crowds were like at Celebration. I can't imagine they were as big as they were in 2019, just by the law of diminishing returns. Plus, I believe there was a mask mandate. Plus, like, what the fuck is there to get excited about? Baby Yoda? Well, they fucked him up in Boba Fett. And plus, it's old. It's really fucking old now. Even if Kenobi was good, and this is what I said a while ago, he's still babysitting a quitter. But now they're making Kenobi more like Jake Skywalker. They're trying to. This is all to support Rey. I wouldn't even be surprised if Rey gets like mentioned as the real chosen one later on in the series. I wouldn't be surprised at all, and wouldn't care. Fuck Star Wars. Hail all Ironworks Gaming. What's up? Please tell me how Senator Organa knew where Obi-Wan lived. I wish I could. He Googled it. I fucking don't know. I don't know how anybody found out anything in this series. What is your genuine opinion on LGBT people? Well, you forgot the Q and the plus there, Callus. For 20, I'm just kidding. For 20 Swedish krona. My genuine opinion is live life however you want to live it individually. Just don't tell me what to do. That's all. I am very open to. I lived in San Francisco for 18 years, and I'm married to a hairdresser. I think my opinion of LGBTQ people is pretty open. So, seeing that many of them are my friends, and I hired a bunch a lot of them at the comic store. And yeah, it's just, to me, it's just an aspect of what you are as an individual. It's not the entire identity. And that's what it is to them too. They're just people. We just, you know what? We've got different tastes. Some people like seafood. I don't like seafood. Some guys like dudes. I don't like dudes. But we can hang out. It's fine. But just don't come at me and like force me to eat seafood, because I don't fucking like seafood. I don't like the taste. I don't like the smell. My wife likes seafood though. I'm still like, I'm not going to marry her because she likes seafood. I can't stand the shit. No, my genuine opinion is I judge the individual individually, and always will. This collectivist shit is bullshit, and I do not subscribe to it in any way. My entire generation, which is a massive disappointment to me, has always been about escaping the labels we were given as kids. We didn't want to be labeled. So I am a pure individualist. If it makes you happy and it's legal and it's not harming, I would say, children, I would say get your freak on. And I'm not saying it's a freak. I'm just saying, like any kink. I don't kink shame. I don't care. Get your freak on. Fly that freak flag. I don't mind. Just be normal about it. And being gay is pretty normal now. I think what's happened, a lot of what you see has happened is, most of it honestly is being right with yourself, right? So I think a lot of what you see on social media, particularly with TikTok, is just insecurity, which is that's your pandemic right now, is insecurity. People not feeling good about themselves. It's totally okay to be gay. Happy Memorial Day, Gary. Will SNW reveal Gorn, Strange New Worlds, Gorn tastes like chicken? Yes, it will. But remember what the replicator stuff is made of in Star Trek Discovery season 3. It's made of shit, and it still tastes like chicken. Yeah, Strange New Worlds is really bad, dude. And what's funny, Douglas, is nobody's talking about it. They came out, they released it at the worst possible time, at the release of Doctor Strange, and then Kenobi came out, and then Top Gun Maverick came out, and then Stranger Things came out. Nobody's fucking talking about fucking Star Trek from Kurtzman. Are you kidding me? Winnie the Pooh needs his honey. Cows make him fart. Are you saying Winnie the Pooh's a vegan, Sir Ubasan? Well, what kind of a bear is Winnie the Pooh? Are we talking about the chairman Winnie the Pooh? You're going to have to explain that one. It's probably a funny joke that just went completely over my head, which, I mean, that's nothing new. But thank you. Jose M for $19.99 says, "Hey, Gary, I remember you trash talk my hometown of Las Cruces, New Mexico during your great relocation stream. By the way, I don't live in New Mexico anymore. Fuck Governor Lujan. I now moved to Texas like you to enjoy freedom." Las Cruces, New Mexico. Did I trash talk it? I probably did. Because there's like a really high crime rate there. There's like an insanely high, and I decided to sleep in my car on the way out. We got there so late. My wife and I were driving in tandem. So we got to a truck stop that was kind of out of the way, parked next to each other. And I slept in my car, in my driver's seat. I couldn't even lay down because I had so much shit in my car. And I'm like, I don't want to go to a hotel and check into the hotel for like 4 hours. Fuck it. I'll sleep in my car. It was cold. It got down to 30 degrees. I had to turn on my heater. But Las Cruces, yeah. Yeah. Not exactly paradise. I mean, come on. Hey, but I love the Southwest. And I was thinking about moving to New Mexico, but like, yeah, your leadership there is fucking insane. And I came here to Texas a year and 3 months ago to scout things out. So lockdowns were still in effect in a lot of states, including yours, but not here in Texas. So I drove from California down to Texas. We checked out some houses in San Antonio area and said, okay, we like this area. We're going to probably move here. Plus, like, as far as affordability, like, can we find some schools? And we're talking like the northern part of San Antonio, not like down in the downtown, like northern part, more hill country kind of thing. And we liked it. We traveled back home and went over the border from Texas to New Mexico, and it was like going into a different planet. One was vibrant and open, and as soon as we crossed that border, shut down. Nothing's fucking open. Empty fucking parking lots everywhere. And it was bizarre to see it like contrasted like that. It was sad. My mom lives in New Mexico, by the way. My mom and my sister both live in Albuquerque. Okay, 2 more. Then I got to go. I got to fix this office. Sir Ubasan says, movie and comic fan and a strong fan you are, but are you a gamer or a game fan like the Fist of the Razors? Sonic sequel was a game movie of the year. RIP Halo, Hail to the Freedom Fellowship, and Friday Night Tides. I'll just say the FNT. I am not a gamer. No. It's because I'm not very good at it. And I don't have the I'm the kind of person who has to be doing something all the time. So like I'll have Babylon 5 on, but I'll be writing out my next video. I'll be fucking around in this office. I'll be drawing. I got to do something all the time. So like what I would do is I would start video games and then I just ditch out after 5 or 10 minutes because my brain would start racing. So I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but that's why I'm not very good at it. I don't have the attention span for it. Random channel. But thank you. I am going to play Witcher 3 though. Definitely going to play Witcher 3. Just a quick dime to say, fuck Star Wars. Rich people buying what we love. Bezos, Lord of the Rings, Elon, Twitter, Disney, Star Wars, Disney, Marvel. And they cheapen it with horrible talent running it and saving money on TV. Yes. The bankers take stuff over. They get cheap. And they cast writers and directors, and they don't hire actual qualified artists who know what they're doing. What these actual qualified artists need to start doing is strike out on their own, make their own production companies, and start making their own shit. They're going to have to figure that out because they're not getting hired anymore. They are not getting hired anymore. Kind of like what Pixar did. Pixar got super corporate, got rid of I'm blanking. Lasseter, got rid of Lasseter, and then Lasseter took all the old Pixar people and started his own fucking company under Apple. So now Pixar has moved to Apple. So do what George Lucas. Yeah, they're all going to have to do that. I think Hollywood has fallen. They just don't know it yet. And I think if enough of like Daily Wire started something, and I think if some other people got together, I think it could, because I think entertainment is fragmenting right now. And quite frankly, I've said this, I said it in jest 5 years ago, and I'm way more serious about it now. Scripted entertainment might be something that's on its way out altogether. We're at the very beginning stages of what could be 50 years. Okay. I'm talking 50 years of it degrading. Like music is degrading. Popular music has been degrading for years. It's got a place. It still brings in money. It's still, like Taylor Swift still fills fucking arenas for some fucking reason. I mean, she's hot. Okay, there's that. But like, honestly, I can't tell two of her fucking songs from each other. But like, music's not what it was. There's not like 50 prog rock bands out there selling out stadiums. So it's degrading. Things are degrading. They're on the long, slow wean. Kind of that, like the elves leaving Middle Earth, leaving Arda. And eventually it'll be done. And there'll be a new form of entertainment, which will be probably us entertaining each other. Interactivity and gaming. Obviously, gaming is the future. That is the future. All right. Think the rings of power will be the straw that breaks the camel's back? You can't ruin a $1 billion plan and not finally take a closer look at things. Nate Rivers, you are right. And here's what's going on. Okay. I talked about it last live stream. I've got a possible pretty big spoiler for my next video. I need to cross some T's and dot some I's. It's one of them is out there. So Arda, Galadriel's made up brother, is going to be the antithesis for Celebrimbor. And I just saw this on Fellowship of the Fans. So this is their rumor. This is not mine. But Arda is absolutely a real character. Or it's Adra. Sorry, it's Adra. It's not Arda. It's a made up fucking name. That's why I don't know it. Here. I'll get it. So I get it right. Here's Fellowship of the Fans. Hey, they don't block me, so I got nothing against these people. I gotta scroll way down. They tweet a lot. Celebrimbor story. Okay, here we go. Exclusive. I'm just reading off I'm not going to share it. Fellowship of the Fans. You can follow them on Twitter if you like. Exclusive. Celebrimbor's story arc and involvement won't begin properly until around episode 4 and onwards. Okay, but he is at the very least mentioned in episode 2 by Elrond. Okay. Halfway through the so it's only going to be 8 episodes. So he's going to be in episode 4, according to Fellowship of the Fans. In one of the sound stages, there is a forging room. Oh, wait. Oh, they messed up this thread. Hang on. Let's go to 2 of 4. Okay. Celebrimbor and the dwarves will forge rings together at some point near the end of season 1. That is very different. Now, Gandalf speaks of ring craft taking time. Okay. So they're probably playing with this. Right? So when in the book, when Gandalf is talking to Frodo, he talks about ring craft and how it was merely a theory at first, and they just kind of work it out until they get to the final, 20 rings of power. But there was rings before that. There were rings before that they were working on. This is probably what they're doing. Now, no mention of the dwarves, but okay. Celebrimbor is going to work with the dwarves. Now, he's a friend of the dwarves and craftsmanship. So, like, this is the kind of thing that wouldn't bother me. Except for the fact that we're getting to the part where it's going to bother me. In one of the sound stages, there is a forging room in Moria, where in the dwarven mines of Moria. Separate source described it as a rocky chamber. Okay, well, if it's in Moria, I guess so. Why isn't it in Region, where it's supposed to be? Celebrimbor is alerted about the threat of growing fear of Arda in the east and wants to be prepared. And that growing fear is Galadriel's brother, who's like made up. Now, unless you've read The Silmarillion and Lost Tale or Unfinished Tales, Lost Tales, not the Children of Hurin, or just the appendices of Return of the King. None of this is going to make sense. But most of you, I mean, who just watch the movies aren't going to notice much other than Tolkien fans losing their fucking minds because they're making up a bunch of original characters to focus on because they're basically doing their own fucking thing. As somebody pointed out to me yesterday, and it's not the first time they pointed it out, this is called an Amazon original. Now, I know what they mean. Like, this is an original production that we're paying for. But it's an Amazon original, too. It's not an Amazon adaptation of a work. It's an original. The spoiler I have, once I can say it, is pretty... It shows you definitively what direction they're going in, which is everything we were concerned about. So this is going to be an absolute shit show. So a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, I did a video based on a OneRing.net rumor that the writers for season 1 were all fired. They were all fired. They have since moved production from New Zealand to England, I think largely because New Zealand's COOF restrictions were fucking insane and costly. So they're going to England now. I know George made a video and others have made a video on the Amazon set not being finished, and all the other sound stages are booked up till October. Well, I mean, this thing was never going to come out every year, folks. So I don't know what anybody was thinking about shooting schedule, but you don't make a prestige series like this and it just doesn't come out every year unless you're HBO and you've done it before. And Amazon has not done this before. They are very new and they have very inexperienced showrunners. So Rings of Power is coming out every 2 years. That's pretty normal. It's going to be pretty bad because the first season is going to suck and people are going to lose their fucking minds. And instead of 1 year in between shows to where Amazon can maybe correct things, they're going to have 2 years of pissed off fans making videos, going on TikTok, talking on Twitter, and they ain't going to be able to fight that shit. So no, they've lost. They've already lost. This thing's going to cost them a lot of money, and it's not going to bring it back in. Now, a lot of people say Amazon's a $1 trillion company. They don't care about it. Yes, they fucking do. They are a for-profit company, and everything they put money into, they want money back from. Doesn't always work, but that's what they want. Hey, they were just awarded a $10 billion contract, Amazon was, to work exclusively with the NSA to spy on us. No shit. Watch the latest. I think Russell Brand did a video on it a couple days ago. So fuck Amazon too. All right, I gotta bail out. Make sure there's okay, good. I'm gonna bail out. Love Top Gun. Go see Top Gun. Fucking love it. Stranger Things season 4. Slow start. Not bad. Not bad. Just got to get past that first episode. They're longer. And unfortunately, if you've only seen season 1, then you got to watch season 2 and season 3 to know what's going on. And those, quite frankly, are not very good. But this is a definite improvement, I think. And Kenobi sucks. Kenobi sucks a donkey balls. It's really bad. So thanks to the Nerdrotics for coming in. Thanks to everyone who left super chat and donation. Thanks to everyone who took the time to watch this. We really appreciate you. I will be back again tomorrow with the real BBC at 12 p.m. Central Daylight Time with Az and Mahler and Nina. And then we have Chris Gore on Wednesday. I have a lot to do, so I got to get to it. I have a lot to do. Hope you have a very good Memorial Day. Hang out with the family, eat some freaking meat, have fun, barbecue, do whatever, and enjoy the rest of your day. Ciao, everyone. Let's see if I can. There we go. I can find my. There we go. Bye.
Nerdrotic.com.
Do you want to take a life? Do you want to cross that line? Because it's a long way back from hell.